Good evening again, everyone. We want to welcome you to another edition of my Lutheran Connections, uh, your Sunday evening um, podcast and online TV, wherein we discuss all things Lutherans. We secure the facts beyond emotions. Today, I'm glad to be back joining my colleagues, our ambassadors there joining us from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and our brother Josiah Jokai, who happens to be our lead host today. He will be joining us from Dansbury, Connecticut. First of all, we want to start by saying that we do apologize that we cannot bring in Councillor Bobby Livingston. Um, he's there in East Africa. We've tried several attempts to get him on, but the connection is not just helping us. But howbeit, we have a very, very interesting show today. We're going to have a great show. And not to waste much time, I just want to go straight to Dansbury, Connecticut. And we're going to be joining our lead host there, Mr. Josiah Jokai, who is going to be taking over from here.
Thank you so much, Willie. Good evening to our ambassador there in Freetown. Hope you're doing good. And I know all of you can attest to the fact that our ambassador Jerry did extremely well last week in the
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, Willie, I just want in this public manner to congratulate the ambassador for
Yes,
technical expertise he displayed in your
yes,
absence. He
yeah.
took care of business, you know.
He really did. He really
He
did.
want to keep us on and to make sure that the show went on successfully unhindered. Congratulations, Ambassador.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Ambassador. Thank you. Thank you.
Right,
Yes, sure.
right. And Willie, it's good to have you back. We missed you last week, man.
Oh,
Good to
I missed the team. I
yeah.
missed the team. I followed the show at some point. I really wanted to be on, but it was just it was just unfortunate. But the family and I we had a wonderful time back there in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you all for your thoughts and your prayers. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are happy the fact that the family had a nice time. Jerry and I were just wondering as to whether or not our show was a distraction to you because we thought because we thought you would be going back and forth, looking at the computer a little bit and then running back to the kids and your mom.
I try to sneak in, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But folks, welcome once more. It's Sunday, and you know what it means. Here this afternoon in the United States, in Connecticut, in Georgia in particular, where Willie and I are operating from our studios. But it's now a very good evening in Freetown, where our ambassador is seated. It should be about 8 p.m., a few minutes after 8 p.m. there. So we'd like to say welcome to today's broadcast. My name is Josiah Jokai. On I have Willie and I have the ambassador Jerry Tablo. We hope to have our brother Abel Wali to join us at any point in time of the broadcast. And to you there in Central America, North America, in Canada, Australia, in Liberia, and other parts of Africa. We want to say you are welcome to your favorite Lutheran online platform. Today's discussion promises to be great. We want to let you have your say today. And this is how we're going to go about it. We have had our law bishop twice now, fortunately for us and all of you. You've been able to hear from your bishop through this platform wherever you are in the word. And we're continuing to do that. It's a commitment that we made and we live up to it. We've had a bishop twice now, and we've been able to discuss a lot of great things in terms of the plans of the new leadership, how they intend to go about their work, to meet the expectations of Lutherans, in the service of God. So the bishop discussed, among many things, important issues such as revamping the Lutheran Training Institute. That's something I'm also passionate about. As someone who went through those wars, I know what it means. LTR was among the 5 best high schools in the country prior to the war and produced some of the best minds in the country that are contributing greatly across the globe to development. So where are we with that? We're going to be talking about that, and we want to hear from you also about that. The bishop also committed his leadership to establishing, an effective communication system in the church, a resource center, and the Luther FM project, the dream still lives on, in the words of the bishop. So that's something we want to hear from you in terms of where we are right now and what you expect. We also want to hear from you on the proposed Lutheran University. This is a hot topic right now in the church. The university, will be the highest institution of learning to be established and operated by the LCL. So it's very important that we start to talk about this, to hear from you. You have heard from the bishop and other stakeholders. It's time to hear from you in terms of what you want to see happening as far as the establishment of the Lutheran University is concerned. A stable or sustainable financing of the projects of the Lutheran Church and support to Lutherans. How do we go about it? We had one of the best minds here last Sunday in the person of Chairman Dala Kokoya of the St. Peter's Lutheran Parish. He discussed, among other things, what he thinks should form the structure of our school system to make it holistic, not to operate a university or tertiary education outside of the secondary education, how we can have a holistic approach to having an educational system of the LCL where the secondary level can be a feeder to the university. So Dala talk about that, but we also want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about that? So much to unpack here today. My colleagues will bring in some of the perspectives that I have not mentioned to you, but this is just an intro in terms of what our show is going to be about today. So Willie, as usual, is taking care of technical affairs, and he will be rolling all of our messages, our phone numbers. In fact, the phone numbers will start rolling right at the beginning of the show because it's about hearing from you today. And at any point in time, you want to, say something when you call or you comment or you ask questions, we have to display them and to listen to you on the phone so that we be able to hear from you. Mind you, the bishop is listening, the bishop is watching, his lieutenants are watching, they are listening to you, and whatever you want to say here is going to have a role to play in how the leadership proceeds with developing policies, reversing policies, and taking on the development of our church. So Jerry, we have a lot to unpack here today, Willie. So how do we start this? How do we start the ball rolling? Talk about LTR revamping first, because that has happened and a lot of positive vibes came from that. So where do we start from?
Thank you, Joe. That is a very good pace setting. You always the pathfinder, and we appreciate you for that. And I want to thank you guys for thanking me. Witty, I didn't eat my school fees. Thank you for the tutorial. At least I was able to to make my professor Witty proud.
Jared, did you pay for did you pay for the knowledge? You say you didn't eat your school fee, you
paid for it. So Joe, yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of issues that we have already outlined, and we need to begin unpacking them and giving the audience the chance to participate, because it's to them to have their say today. As you see, it's a conversation hour for the audience to participate from the very beginning. But I would like to say that usually when it comes to the secular side, people always say that, look, let us try to see how we can be able to give the new leadership or the administration something like 100 days and see how they set the agenda. And the 100 days is something that most of the time people use as a benchmark to determine whether or not the leadership, will succeed or not. Because, mind you, they already had their platform, the secular, what we say, manifesto, and they have already atomized on elaborated what they intended to do, and like you started, I think the bishop have already given us some guidance, so to speak, in terms of the roadmap and how he intends to proceed with his leadership. And I think he wanting to prioritize education. He stressed on that very seriously, and he began by leading by example, going to LTI and giving LTI a faith lift, carrying a lot of church leaders with him, and the place have been clean. And then he's also thinking on trying to see how the LTI could be a technical arm to the quote-unquote university that would be and established. So I think on the point of education, you can see that the bishop is taking that as a top priority. And I want to believe, Joe, before I give Willie the chance, is that any church or any institution that is very serious in making impact in society, we want to focus on the human resource development. And that's something that we need to take into consideration. And seeing the bishop beginning his leadership on trying to see how he can strengthen that, I think is laudable. But again, we will want to hear from the audience what other steps they think that the bishop could take, to help strengthen the educational sector or the system of the LCL. And before, whether you take the floor, I just like to say that the issue of stock taking, Joe, as you mentioned, is very, very important. I think the bishop told us that he has, in his own word, established a verification committee. But establishing a committee is one thing. I think it will be important for the bishop to ensure that the TOR for the committee is very clear, and that the committee, can begin working, because the sooner you allow this thing to slip through your fingers, then you start operationalizing some of your own strategy. And then when you start going into it, the tendency for you to be weak in carrying on the stock taking is imminent. So I think while it is true that we need to be very meticulous how we proceed with the stock taking, but it's also important that we collaborate, or we join quality with speed, so that the bishop can be clear on where he's coming from, where he is currently, and then we always know where he will be going. Thank you.
Right. Before Willie comes on, let me just take the time to say welcome to our colleague there in Gombe. That's the Adamawa State in Nigeria, from the Lutheran Cathedral. That's our colleague Jackson Akawaya, watching way there in Nigeria. From Nigeria, he is watching us. We'd like to welcome our colleague Jackson. Jerry, you made valid points, from the stock taking and the focus on education, as emphasized by the bishop. And I think LTI is historic in that respect. So making sure that LTI gets the kind of facelift that it needs is quite important to set the stage. Absolutely. So let me just chip in, Jerry, to say that there was an important concern, that I raised about the end game of the bishop prioritizing LTR right now in the whole education discussion. And I think the reasons he gave were very cogent. First, he emphasized that whether or not we have a university, LTI is a property of the LCL, and it is our responsibility to make sure that LTI is in a good shape. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. So even in the absence of an arrangement between the LCL and any other institution with regards to establishing a university, the LCL need to first make sure that LTI is in a good state. So I think the actions of the bishop and his leadership is quite in place, and is one that is commendable. And the other thing is that if LTI is to be, the other point he made is that if LTI is to even be considered as an important factor in the whole Lutheran University arrangement, LTI must be seen as such. The leadership cannot leave the institution in a dilapidated state and be talking about using the institution as one of those campuses, to house the proposed Lutheran University. So I think those are important 5 steps as outlined by the bishop. So Willie?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ambassador and Brother Jokai. I want to start this way by also recognizing our brother, and I'm going to pronounce this name. I'm gonna pronounce this
Willie, I
name.
break you, man. Willie, don't make
I'm gonna do this, okay?
You're not Pele, so you can pronounce it right.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna prove that I am a nephew of the Pele people. Okay, this is Afre Melipake Tali. Afre Melipake Tali. He is watching us from Nepal, India.
Yeah.
Brother, we want to say thank you very much. Okay.
I thought you were talking about Father Menpele. I'm sorry about that.
No. That brother Menipake. And I'm going to follow Menipele, okay, of St. Louis. Menipele Small of St. Louis. So they all know I'm their nephew. But quickly, and our brother Rich K. Kennedy want to say thank you so much. But quickly, I want to come straight to the issue of LTI. Right after the elections, and everyone, the message went out. Everyone, there's no more team. We have one team, LCR. I saw team LCR at LTI. I saw team LCR at LTI. Even our own very colleague here on set, Brother Abel Lewally. Abel Lewally, he runs an organization. He took some of his staffs and some of the students voluntarily joined the corps. Over 100 of them were assembled at LTI. And I saw leadership also at LTI. Okay. I saw the bishop. The bishop did not only greetings, brother Leo Johnson. That's my uncle as well again. Leo Likpele Nempolu Johnson. So, my uncles will really appreciate me that their nephew is doing well. But I want to say this. The bishop did not only make the call. That's one thing I want to point out. The bishop did not only make the call. I saw this bishop with cutlass in his hands. It means that he put his robe down. Okay. He went up to LTI. He did not only call people, but he led the process. He led the process. And I think that's very significant. Okay. And as we often say, if you're calling someone to wash your back, try to take some water and start, kind of washing your face and your stomach and everything so they know that you really mean business. That's that. But my concern now here is this. After the cleaning up exercise at LTI, we know LTI, we had to go there, give the area a facelift. Everyone was on board, even the current vice president of the Republic of Liberia. I understand she's a product of LTI, the LTI Alumni Association here in the diaspora, and all over people were meeting. They went up there, they joining clean up LTI. But after clean up LTI, what next? Okay, and also like the ambassador mentioned, that start taking is very important. And I want to believe that this administration, the bishop, that list will be made public, and I also believe that their findings will be made public, so that so that we all know who are those that will be working, and at the end of their work, the TOR, once that is done, then we will also get to know what happened, what were their findings. We'll also get to know. But again, we want to welcome everyone. The show is a roundtable conversation. The show is for all of us today, mainly our viewers. So we want you to weigh in. The numbers are here. In fact, we're going to stop the numbers from strolling. We're gonna make the number very static, on the screen so that everyone can see it. You can call in and you can participate. So beginning now, you can start to call in if you want to participate. You can go right ahead and start to participate.
Excellent. Thank you, Willie. Thank you, Ambassador there in Freetown, for those perspectives. I do agree. And I highlighted two important reasons why the bishop feels that LTR should be given a facelift at this point. He talked about ownership. The church owns LTR. It's the church's responsibility to make sure that the institution is in a good shape and good state. He also indicated the importance of making sure that we make LTR attractive to gain the kind of support it needs, from friends, from partners, and well-wishers. That's quite important. So while we start on this platform, that it's always important to hear from the bishop, and we'd like to thank the bishop. He had his first bishop hour, on Sunday since he took over. So we are committed to bringing the bishop on every last Sunday. You will have the opportunity to interact with the bishop while he's on the show. We usually keep him for more than 1 hour, 30 minutes, and he's loving it. He's loving it, interestingly. That's quite fascinating. And we haven't had this before, where our leaders ensure accountability, because that's a great means of accountability, coming to explain to your people what you're doing on their behalf. They need to be aware. They need to have a voice in the things that you say. Very, very impressive. Leo would like to say welcome, and we look forward to having you on one day to share your perspective. Leo is one of those leaders, not only recognized by Liberians, but across the globe. He's doing so much in terms of motivation, inspiration, and development. So one day we look for, and Leo is really proud to have you doing that, globally, and be recognized.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have you on this show to talk all things Lutheran. That's what we do here. And we do so beyond emotions.
And also to our brothers there in our brothers there in from the LCCN, we hope to invite them to on some days, to talk about the church there in Nigeria, and also in East Africa and South Africa.
Absolutely, Willie, and it's good that you talk about that, because there is an ongoing huge project in Nigeria for the construction of the establishment of the Lutheran University there.
Right.
And Liberians here in the United States, especially in Minnesota, really contributed to raising resources. Well, that was how much the first
the initial is $500,000. $500,000
was raised.
$500,000
US. And I know we can do the same thing for the Lutheran University in Liberia. All we want is the framework, is the policy that will be established, clearly defined roles and responsibilities and the objectives, so that people will be able to contribute to that worthwhile project. We've talked about LTR a lot from the start. We've talked about the stock taking. Let me just add to what the ambassador said, that the bishop informed us that a committee has been established for the verification process. And I think this is an important step too, guys, because we haven't had this, in a long time. I don't know which leader ever did that when they took over the church, to ensure that there's a verification process to know where we are, as a stepping stone to where we are going. That's an important milestone, and we really hope they can achieve it. I know that Zerubbabel Associates have been consulted. I know that they are eventually going to be the ones to carry out this verification exercise. Some Lutherans have been calling for independent bodies outside of the church to undertake the process, to ensure full accountability, to ensure that the result is credible, that no sentiments, no affiliations, that we get some bias involved in the process. But I think Zerubbabel Associates is highly professional. They are recognized. They've been doing a good job in the country. If they are going to undertake this, I think we all just need to follow the process closely. And we will also take the opportunity to bring them on the show here, so that they can talk about the way they are proceeding with it and what will happen to the findings at the end of the day. I know it's not in their place to say what's going to happen to the findings, because they will turn the findings over to the leadership. But it's going to be like a joint initiative, because they will work with the leadership to ensure that it's successfully carried out.
Quick,
Yeah, but Joe, I think
yeah,
somebody saying if they can call.
yes, go ahead.
I think
Yeah, go ahead, Leo. You can call in right now. So we'll begin taking calls beginning now.
Okay,
I
yeah.
just want to put that in. Yeah.
Right. While we are
yeah.
waiting Leo's call, let me just highlight another important aspect: resources. And the bishop did not mince his words. The bishop said that is a grave problem. The covers are empty. In his words, quote, he said, "We are sitting over an empty bucket." Unquote. That's what he said. We are sitting over an empty bucket. So resources, how the church will mobilize resources, that was the question, posed to the bishop and Dala. And the bishop talked about attracting donors, talk about contributions of members of the church. But here is an important perspective that Dala shared. And Dala spoke about this from a corporate perspective. He said, look, the church is an institution. The church is the business. It's a business. The church has properties. The church has expertise. And it's true. Guys, we cannot negate that. The church has expertise. We have expertise in the different areas. We have economists. Okay, we have a call. We stop right here to take the call, and we come back to resource mobilization.
Go ahead, brother. Tell us your name and make a comment, please.
Thank you, gentlemen. This is Leo Nicole Johnson calling from Canada. And thanks to all of you there for such a great job. I've been following from time to time, but this is really amazing in terms of some of the issues you guys have been tackling, and I'm glad to be on.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah.
Welcome to the show. We are happy to have you on.
Yeah, let me maybe begin first by just highlighting a few things. And first of all, kudos to the new leadership of the church, including the recently elected bishop, for really bringing some things to the fore that I believe the Lutheran Church has been sleeping on for a long time. I usually refer to LCL as, unfortunately, a sleeping giant. Giving here is one of the most rural churches in the area. No church should be ahead of the curve when it comes to the progressiveness of churches in Liberia, especially on the line of education, on the line of health. We have been historically one of the strongest pillars in Liberia beyond the spiritual duties that the churches perform. But I think a big problem has been the I don't want to say rejection, but the failure of the church to acknowledge and enlist and embrace the amount of professionals that have come out of the Lutheran Church has been a serious problem. And I think that's where the church is lacking. If you just look around the world, period, some of the best professionals you can think about are everywhere, from the healthcare sector, to the financial sector, to the education sector. I mean, excellent professionals. But unfortunately, the church has almost seen them as not having a role beyond coming to church for spiritual reasons. And even some of the conversations we're having, we're still not doing a good job of mobilizing professionals around, some of whom could be leading some of these efforts. So I really hope we can start to have those conversations, because some of our brothers and sisters are professionals and they would do a professional job. But I think the church sometimes makes the spiritual responsibility, the professional side of the church together, where sometimes we want the people who lead the spiritual side of the church are trying to lead the professional side, and sometimes that's not what they do very well. So this is an observation for me that I think some of the ambitious plans that the bishop have put forward, some of the efforts and initiatives, you talk about even fundraising and mobilizing resources. You're going to need the professionals who know how to do that stuff. It doesn't happen by magic. If we cannot bring in the professionals, we'll be left with a bishop's plans on the shelves again and not being able to actually execute them.
Absolutely, Leo. It's good to have you on, and your perspective is quite valuable. I just want you to stay on the phone a little bit so we can make this a little bit interactive, because you touch on an important dimension: the failure of the church to acknowledge or enlist the professionals in the church. And I was just speaking on that when your call came in, where I was talking about resource mobilization. And that was the perspective of one of our colleagues, Dala Kokoya, who is currently the parish council chair of the St. Peter's Lutheran Parish. He said that the church is an institution already. So we are a business. And let me say, just to clarify those who don't understand our perspective that the church is a business, the church is an institution, registered, can be sued, and can also sue the LCF from that perspective. I know it has its spiritual responsibilities, but as an institution of that nature, we have technocrats, we have specialists, we have professionals, we have the lawyers, we have the economists, we have the business managers, we have teachers, we have educators in the church. Bringing together the pool of professionals in that line, I think we are able to derive measures by which we can significantly contribute to the growth of the church. Take, for example, some of the efforts that the bishop is undertaking, the association of, legal practitioners in the church, the association of medical personnel in the church. Those are some of the things that he started doing, identifying them. And I know this is going to be in a larger picture part of the stock taking. But if I may just ask you, what approach you think the bishop and his leadership can adapt to really put this effort together, Leo, that will make a difference in our church? Some concrete steps, say like if you were to itemize like A, B, C, what are some of the fundamental steps that they need to take?
I think those are the best way to really do this, to start enlisting what I would call committees, exploratory committees, in my opinion. So we need to first of all identify the key areas right now, short-term key areas that are immediate needs that that the church must tackle right away, and long-term needs, right? Because you don't want to focus on the short-term needs, because then once the short-term needs are over, you're left empty-handed. And when I say that, for example, the issue of resource mobilization, fundraising, I often say in the Lutheran Church, everybody knows how to spend money, nobody knows how to raise it. It's a big problem. That doesn't work. So, for example, in the area of fundraising and resource mobilization, we need to organize the community, and in doing so, what you then do is you try to reach out and engage the professionals. We know all of them, Josiah, you know that. We all in the diaspora at the very least, if we don't know all, we know most of them because we see their work. Yeah. Outside of the church, in other areas, they are doing exploits. So set up a committee around resource mobilization and fundraising, right? Yeah. We're talking about education, whether it's post-secondary education or secondary education. We should be organizing communities of people, some of whom may not even be very active with the church, because let's be honest, some of our Lutheran professionals and so may not have been active with the church for a long time. And you know why I say so? Because the church is not using them. Mm-hmm. So they eventually drift off their church, because the thing that they dedicate their lives to, the church is not providing them the space to be able to utilize those skills. So they're drifting off to other organizations eventually, because the only thing the church is there for is for them to go to church and get their spiritual side of it. So the church offers them nothing more than that. So I think the beginning of these exploratory committees will be to identify, search, and invite experts of particular areas of expertise, like I was naming, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's fundraising. And I mean, the bishop, I'm pretty sure we know the areas of priority right now. So begin with those areas of priority. Once you start to bring those professionals around the table, they will then start to push with ideas and recommendations around how the things we can achieve, even setting the goals. Let's not be too fast to rush and set ourselves lofty goals without having the professionals who can tell you, say, let's create a roadmap. What goals are realistic? What are not realistic? What should we focus on versus what should we not focus on? I'm worried that if people who don't have the expertise in these areas are setting goals for the church, I know they're well-meaning and everything, but I have a professor who often say the highway to hell is paved with good intentions. Everybody who went to hell was trying to do good as well, and they went wrong.
Absolutely, Leo, you are quite right. And establishing an exploratory committee will help, because it will help to identify and enlist such professionals in the different categories. We agree with you 100%. And that will be the beginning of genuine inclusion of professionals of the church, across the globe, which would be helpful. Thank you, Leo. It was nice having you on the phone, and we are going to extend an invitation to you so we can sit with you to better talk about some of these issues.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leo. Thank you.
All right,
That
so
was the
Joe,
voice of Leo Nicolo Johnson. You heard him, and I hope the leadership is listening. Those are important perspectives. The main takeaway from his discussion was that the church historically has failed to acknowledge, to recognize, to enlist professionals within the church, many of whom are products of the church. Yes, Jerry, our ambassador there in Freetown.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And I think our brother Johnson, Leo Johnson, was very, very, very pointed, and I hope that if not the bishop, the lieutenants of the bishop are following the show because and taking down some points because these are key issues. And let me just add on to it that I know the bishop is already almost getting his feet wet, he and his administration. But like Johnson said, there is a need for us to ensure, or for the leadership to ensure that the prioritize a priority, because you cannot just do everything. And when those priorities are prioritized, then we try to see how we can be able to get the professionals to work around them so that we can be able to succeed. But one thing I was looking at, Joe, I wanted to draw our attention to that is the fact that wanting to make or use the corporate star, in the church. If you see, I think our mission or vision statement is said to preach, to whether you know it more than I do.
Yeah. He'll preach and teach.
He'll preach and teach.
Yes,
you
sir.
understand? And those are our mission statement, right? And probably our core values. And these are issues that we are going to make sure that everything we do within the church we hinge on, so that we can veer from them and going forward. So, and Dala was very, very mindful in saying that we need to spend more time in investment. And if we are talking about that, and he also attempted a point, pointing out where we should go in the agriculture sector, looking at our location, looking at the geography of the church. You understand? And these are things perhaps that the leadership can be looking at as in the short to medium term, and try to see how we can, what is it along the value chain that we want to start, investing in, and that will give us quick returns, so that we can start putting that aside. And maybe we could be, with the exception of the endowment fund that coming from the various churches and the quota that the various parishes are paying, we could open an escrow account to say, look, this account would not be touched, is our investment account, and whatsoever we'll get from those sales from our investment will be placed in our account from the agri sector. And then we start, like Bill Johnson said, we start the exploratory committee to find people who understand resource mobilization, who also understand the agri sector and agri science, to guide us in trying to see what we need to first invest in. It says piassava, it says rice, it says gari, it said what? And that will give us some quick money so that we can do it. Because look, we are experiencing donor fatigue. Even outside the church, in a secular world, Joey, as I know, all of us, we are experiencing donor fatigue. You understand that? And so many different things going on in the world, and everybody running to the same donor. So we must be able, as a church, to try to see how we can do something for us. And money follow great ideas. The professionals are there. If we can identify the professionals and we have great plans, strategically placed, agri sector, we want to invest in this, and we get the caliber of people to help us, I'm sure in the not too in time we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve in the short to medium term. And like Johnson said before I end, then we can start looking at the long term. That, I mean, if we are not putting in capital investment, Dala was talking about real estate. Other churches around are also getting themselves involved into real estate. Real estate could be in the long-term quadrant. You understand? And maybe we will want to put that under what we call capital investment. And we can start looking for the land, or we already got the land, some of those lands that we don't know of. There where we need the expertise of our lawyers to come in. And then we start looking at some of those lands that we don't have title deeds for. We get them. If we already got it, we try to resurvey them. We got professionals who are surveyors in the church. To look at it, and then we can start identifying to say, look, this is where we want to identify for the real estate. Real estate developers and individuals who are involved in real estate development will be able to come in, throw in the expertise so that we can get involved into the real estate aspect. Even if we're taking loan now, we'll be taking loan from the bank for a water cost because we know for the way we'll be able to pay them back, looking at the rate of return over a period of time. So these are issues we can discuss. You know,
okay.
I just want
Willie,
raise very credible points, and I think the leadership need to take that into consideration.
Willie, you and I are the hosts, and Jerry is our guest.
Right.
Because
the
ambassador has elaborated so effectively on the issue of the corporate approach to mobilizing resources in the church. He couldn't have said it any better.
No.
And Leo Johnson is adding on to that to mention that, hey, donor support should be relied on in emergencies and that they should be considered as extra revenue. And we should prove that's what we should do. We should not look at donor support in this era and time of donor fatigue as the major source of resource mobilization. That's a step for failure. That's a serious step for failure. We can't do it. And if we adopt the corporate approach, I think we can succeed because we have the resources. The resources in terms of the technical expertise in the church. Look, Jerry was just dissecting the whole agric aspect of it.
Yeah.
Look,
and that's just one aspect.
We have plots of lands across the country. Look at the geography. Look at the location of the church predominantly. Look at the people in the church. Invest in their efforts.
Right.
And let the church has a role to play. Government subsidize. What the church can do is invest. That's what we can do. Right. We invest and then we get ROI, returns on investment. Yeah. We are able to get the resources. You know, real estate. We can do real estate in the church. Absolutely. We got properties all across the place. Why can't we involve our legal luminaries? The church is absolutely rich with legal-minded people. Why can't
Bijo, I just want to jump in. I just want to jump in quickly. I just to jump in quick to add on to what you were saying, right? Even those who took the church to Liberia, okay? I'm talking about our partners, the ELCA, right? Mm-hmm. They invest so hugely into so many other things, including housing or real estate.
Yeah.
The Senate that I found myself in, the Delaware, Maryland Senate, right? You know, at some point up to 2019, the Senate had 7 associates to the bishop, 7. But again, with the same old, you know, with same that we were talking about of financial issue and donor fatigue and everything. Guess what? Now they have only 1. But they still have all the properties, all the real estate that they invested into long time ago.
Right.
And so it's yielding that return to.
That's effective leadership right there. That's effective leadership right there. Right. So that's the call everyone is making. Hope the leadership can make use of all these opportunities. You have the expertise that you're not supposed to pay for. You're not even paying for. What Jerry just provided here right now, nobody is paying for that, but it is worthy for the power of the church. What Brother Leo Johnson just elaborated on the phone, that is an offer. That is an expertise that the church can tap into. You know, so we have all these experts, bring them together, activate them, and let them do the job so that we can remain ahead as it should be. Because the LCL from 1860, historically, we should be making a serious difference in the life of the country and the life of Lutherans.
The LCI needs to activate her National Guard, bring in all the professionals.
Yes. So we've talked a lot about resource mobilization. We talk about LTR, all the beautiful things. Trust me, I'm not going to talk about Donfo issues here today.
No Donfo.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Mother Howard is watching you. No Donfo. Mother Howard is watching.
I saw that message. That's why I'm trying to be careful not to talk about Donfo issues here today. I don't want Sis Lila. I don't want Sis Lila and people like Flomo Guze.
Stevie Cover,
and the rest of the guys to take issues with me here today. So I'm not going to talk about Donfo. But Stevie, if you can join us by way of phone to share some of those memories, you don't have to talk about Donfo. You can come and share some of those memories with us. Yeah. So we talk about LTI, we talk about resource mobilization. Let's talk a little bit about the Lutheran University project, Jerry, and I know that you have a lot to share on that, because when it comes to the current efforts, the strategic plan development, the process, I know we don't have much information on that yet, but just from the bishop's conversation and that of Dala, I think we can expand on that a little bit, and others who want to share, they can also chime in on that. But let's talk about the Lutheran University a little bit, the prospects, and what are some of the things that we should see going into that. Willie, you can also share on that. And again, folks, don't forget, today we want to hear from you on some of these issues, and let us not remain the passive group of people as people see us to be. They see us to be passive, that we have so much to benefit from, but we're not taking any action. We're not doing anything. Let's talk about these issues. We are glad now that we have a bishop who is open to discussion, open to criticism, and he wants everybody to come out to talk about what he needs to do, to provide a better leadership, a productive leadership, an effective leadership. So today is all yours. I am here, Jerry is here, Willie is here. The three of us are here to facilitate the process. So it is your show. Call in like Leo did and share what you have to share. Yes, Jerry, let's talk about the Lutheran University project.
Thank you so much. Again, Big Joe, and I also want to say thank you, Willie. And Joe, I like the way you are coming down thematically. Is good. You are so organized. You put the topic, the perspective. On the Lutheran University, I want to begin from where we ended the last time when
Jerry, we have Cesar Goya. Cesar Goya ran away from us for some time. Let me just, I want to highlight that. Cesar, you ran away from us for some time, and I was wondering why. Please call to let us know if we are responsible for you running away, or you yourself, you are responsible in terms of what was responsible for your quiet nature. Okay, anyway, Brother Goya, you are most welcome. We are glad to have you on today watching.
and you can see where he threw it in, that the Lutheran Church is a beggar entity. Don't mind him. He will call and we're asking why he's saying so. But as I was saying, Dada said that he was not privileged to give us an insight of the report, but they actually had the strategic plan a workshop, and then the report was sent over to Aliyah so that they could review. But I think what we need to do is to expand this approach a bit, to expand the methodology a bit. The first thing, why we now talking about, looking at the strategic plan and coming up perhaps with a new MOU or modification of the MOU so that we can be able to have actual roles and responsibility. I think since the bishop is particular about the human resource development in the church, he should also be particular on the side of the church itself, what we have put into it. Because, Joe, they say, put your money or put your mouth where your money is. You understand? All right. Okay.
We have to say on the phone. We have to say on the phone. Hey, sister, brother, sister,
Go ahead,
you
go
are
ahead.
most welcome. Welcome to your own show. Brother Goya, welcome. How is the family doing? How's everybody at home?
Wait, I'm not hearing him.
Yeah, we can hear you. Everyone hearing you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my family is good, man. I'm in Liberia right now.
Oh.
To my brethren in studio. I wanted to add to the conversation, and what I was trying to add to the conversation is that, yes, I listened to my brother Leo, and I've listened to Jokai and all of you, and I think you guys are on the right path. But one thing we have to understand is that, it's the idea of simple signs. Liquid always takes the form of the continuous ink, right? If you pour water in a gallon, or you pour oil in a gallon, it comes out of, it takes the form of the gallon. You put it in a plastic bag, it takes the form of a plastic bag. And what I'm trying to say is that the Lutheran Church, as it is, was built to be donor dependent. The entire framework, the entire ideology, and everything that followed that was donor based. And that's the reason for the longest time we've always depended on outsiders to fund the church. And so somewhat, and not to be demeaning, but I think the church as it was envisioned and built and established and run was run as a beggar institution. So now intellectuals like you guys that have come out of the Lutheran Church are now looking at, okay, we have donor fatigue, we have this money being dried out. How can we be visionaries to transition to today's modern day way of funding the church? And I think in order for us to do that, we have to first go back to the founding of the Lutheran Church in Liberia and see how can we change the mindset, how can we change the ideology to start focusing on moving away from donor-based funding, from beggar institutions to self-sustenance. And how do we then empower people? And I read my brother Leo saying we do not lack the abilities and the capacities. We lack the vision to get those people who are capable to step up and do things. And again, the reason for that is because the church has been built in a different way to look at different things than what we want to do right now. In order for us to achieve what we want to do right now collectively, we have to go back to the funding. We have to go back to the ideology. We got to go back to the thinking, the thought process that created a Lutheran Church, and we have to change that fundamentally for us to be able to move forward the way we want to move forward. And just to say, I do applaud you all. I am in line with you in the way we want to see the Lutheran Church transition. But in order for us to do that, in order for smart people like you, Jokai, and my cousin Willie, and all those people, and Leo to step up and be able to fully represent the ability and the skill sets, we have to go back to the founding. We have to change the Lutheran Church from its core. That was the point I was trying to make.
Hold on 1 second, cuz. Hold on 1 second. The ambassador has a question for you.
Jerry, you still want to ask your question?
Yes. I will ask my question to Sissy. He already want to hijack me. Don't mind him. Sissy, I mean, thank you so much. I think you really also made some very significant points here. But I just wanted to ask you briefly. That has been the ideology, as you said, and I see Leo Johnson, coming up to say that we need to change that. But I want to ask you, prioritizing the priority. What do you think? Intending to change the entire format, what do you think should be the first thing we should be tackling in terms of moving forward?
Oh man, I don't know how to prioritize that, because in my mind, even the way we elect the bishop has to be changed, right? Because that has been a source of a lot of conflict, unnecessary chaos in the church. But if you ask me, I think, look, there are a lot of us in the diaspora, and there's a lot more of us in Liberia who were educated in the Lutheran Church, or who were educated by Lutheran dollars, or who were educated in other like Catholic schools, but we were educated with Lutheran daughters in Catholic school from Lutheran homes. There were a lot of smart people. I think the first thing we ought to do is to bring together those young people. And when I say young people, I'm not counting myself, because I want to do the librarian thing where the chairman of the youth organization is 45 years old, right? But we have to bring together those really young intellect, people that have it, because what worked for us before, when I was in St. Peter Lutheran Church in 1992, 1993, and still with the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship, it's not what will work for the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship today. So I think I would be doing a disservice and even being rude to my younger colleagues if I were to decide what is important to them. But we ought to create a table where these young people will come together, and us who have seen the NLYF as what it used to be to come in and serve as guidance and guides on how do we move forward. If you ask me clearly, for me, I'm biased. Number one thing that the Lutheran Church should start dealing with is education. I'm an educator. I think the biggest thing we ought to start dealing with is education. We go out trying to win souls for Christ, but until we can educate people on how to read the Word of Christ and how to understand the Word of Christ in our own Lutheran way. You know, that whole thing about the Lutheran Church and other churches form, GST, and the other people can kind of learn the Methodist way, and the other people can call it the Lutheran way. It's kerfuffle. It doesn't make sense. Until and unless we can establish institutions that will be able to teach our people in our way as Lutherans, and we can teach nursing, to do nursing with the Lutheran mindset. We can teach engineers to do engineering with the Lutheran mindset. Until and unless we do that, I think we're fighting a losing battle. So if you ask me, what should we prioritize as an educator, I think I'll be biased and say we first and foremost need to prioritize updating and upgrading and augmenting our Lutheran institutions.
Thank you so much, Brother Cesar. You never disappoint, and you are right 100%. I think the angle from which you come, Leo shares that same angle when he indicated in his opening statement that the failure of the church to acknowledge and enlist professionals in the church is responsible for the current situation in the church. Because if you have a pool of experts that is activated, you can definitely benefit from such pool a whole lot. So yes, that's one point that you struck. That's quite important. But let me just say here that not recognizing the fact that we've had a historic transition from the mission church to the national church is responsible for where we are today, and that brings us to the whole beggar church idea. Because we are still living like almost 100 years ago, the missionary church, when everything was done by the missionaries, was done by donors. And we're still living in that state as much as that has changed. That's not the reality right now. We are a national church right now. So we should be thinking nationally. What do we mean by that? We should be able to take stock. Okay, here we were, donors supported our schools, they supported the hospitals, donors supported our parents who were incapable, but the situation is different today. Here we are responsible for running our schools, responsible for running our hospitals, responsible for running our institutions, mobilizing resources to support our own initiatives. That's the national spirit, and that's the state we are in right now. But we have not taken that stock yet, meaning that we have not accepted the fact that the historic transition has taken place from the mission church to the national church. And I think there you come from. That's the angle you come from. That's the angle Leo comes from. That's the angle we come from. So we have to rethink that strategically to be able to get on a new path, to have this new vision of how we can do it ourselves. So having said that, we want to thank you, Brother Goya. As always, when you return, we'll definitely find time so you and Leo can sit with us for us to talk about some of these issues more in a structural way.
I appreciate that, Brother Joka. I can never disagree with my brother Leo. He's a very learned brother, so it was good knowing that he agreed with what I said. So that makes me to go to bed, sleep good at night tonight. I will continue to watch my brothers, but you guys are doing a good job. And the Lutheran Church will always stay alive because of people like you who refuse to like the idea and the mindset of what it means to be a Lutheran to die.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I know you go to bed after drinking the power.
man. I feel about what I've been years old.
Enjoy your time in Liberia, my brother. Yeah. Have a good time. And Brother Leo was talking some other stuff. I don't know if Willie, you can just display that. Let's see
I think
talking about the university stuff.
It was a proposal. It's a proposal that he brought up. Yeah, this is on the university. He shared something on the university.
Yeah, he said, I think we need to take a step back on the Lutheran University and recalibrate. There were some major missteps and gaps that we need to get right from the beginning. I think the current arrangement and plan is not grounded in the current realities of the environment. And
I think Aliyah alluded to this when we invited him the last time.
Yes, that is what I wanted to say, Joe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Jerry, you can go ahead because you were in flight when the call came in from Cesar. Goya, you can expand on this a little bit. But Brother Stephen Cover, as I told you, I know you were on the phone, but please call us back. We want to bring you in so you can chime in a little bit on some of those great memories at LTI when you guys were the big boys and some of us had just come in, and let's talk about it a little bit and what you think about some of the things that the bishop has said going forward in terms of the way they want to proceed with their leadership. Jerry.
Yeah, thank you. I think Brother Johnson already started, some of the points I attempted to raise, but to just say that the issue of saying the environment is not right so much, so to speak, for the kind of reality we have. I think it's all part of recalibrating. And Aliyah leadership alluded to that, and that is the reason why, in fact, now as part of the recalibrating process, they want to start now with the strategic plan, and then develop the whole operational plan and try to see how they can be able to run with the strategic plan to mobilize some resources. But I was also saying, Joe, that's Aliyah. Let us be asking ourselves. And Joe, you raised one question with the bishop, or I think it was the bishop or somebody when you asked the question. I think the Aliyah people, when they say, okay, we are going to sponsor the strategic plan, and you ask them what the church put into it.
Yes.
Then you raise a very critical and significant point, and Sister Goya is also alluding to that look at the response. The response was, you guys just send the money and help us, and we'll be so no. Let us then begin to see that, look, we, whatsoever little resources we have, we can chip in so people know that we are serious. In our local parlance, when we want to try to see if we can mobilize resources, we say you spend money to get money.
Yeah.
So our own church, the LCL, while it is true, colleagues out there are member of the LCL or were member of LCL and has formed the association to come and help us with university, which is a very good idea. But what is the LCL doing? Our pastor was chair. I understand now he's transitioning. We also need to take stock.
You mean Reverend King?
Reverend King.
Yeah.
Jesse King. We also need to take stock. So Jesse King must be able to tell us when he was there as chair, what are some of the efforts? What did he do? He said that with the exception of Aliyah, some other partners have started to buy the idea, and they were LCA were negotiating. He also, I remember on the phone one time, he said that, look, we also started generating money here in Liberia. So we need to take stock on that. And then when we take stock and know where we are, then I will want to advise that the LCL, while we're negotiating on one hand with Aliyah, we try to see how we can be able to scout out for other donors or other stream of support so that we can be able to have this going. And it's going to help us a lot. But I think the church, the LCL, will need to sit in the driving seat. Why it is true is it appears to be Aliyah's flagship program, but they need to sit in the driving seat and try to guide this process. Not to guide the process, so just say, look, we're guiding the process and send the money, but we also putting 10 cents inside, 15 cents inside, and we need your $2, your $3, so we can collaborate and see how we can get a university running. But with Johnson, we got to recalibrate. And Johnson, I think the recalibration has started already. They knew that they were in error, and they tried to reset. Let me use that word. Reset the entire process, and then they will start to proceed. That is what I wanted to just say about that.
Absolutely, you are right, Jerry. And let me just add that it was quite fascinating for Aliyah on this platform to underscore that. I think the last 2.5 years in the process of the Lutheran University establishment was quite frustrating. It was because not much was achieved. 2.5 years they expected to have had the process on and going, and everything proceeding well. But there were actions taken by the church under the former leadership, unknown to Aliyah in the process, and they were partners, and things were supposed to be happening, as a team. But again, one factor, that was responsible for that was the fact that they had one MOU, that was very generic, one MOU that did not speak to specifics in terms of clearly defined roles and responsibilities, clearly set objectives that they were supposed to achieve. So I think they have reset the process, like you said, because developing a strategic plan which gives a strategic direction in terms of the way to proceed with the university establishment is the first step, and that brings Leo's perspective, in the conversation. Because the recalibration, like you said, has started. They have gone back to status quo. They have started the development of the strategic plan. The strategic plan is supposed to inform a new or revised MOU, that will set the stage for the way they should proceed. And I think that's where also the whole idea of bringing a pool of professionals in the church comes in. That fits in appropriately, Jerry and Willie, because you cannot do this in isolation of the very professionals that you have in the church, many of whom are supposed to be involved in the establishment and the operation of the very Lutheran University. I think that is very important, and we need to take that aspect of the conversation important. We have a call, and we will break here to take that call. Willie, who do we have?
We have I think we will allow our caller to call his name. He's no stranger to us, but he will call his name and then make his input. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Reverend Thomas Bay.
Oh, Reverend Pay, you have
I thought to make it a surprise.
You have a fine to pay, Reverend. You disappear, Reverend.
And all of the guys out there, let me say thank you. And I like my Lutheran connections and the issues that have been discussed. Tonight, this is very interesting. But before, I'm not going to make any comment, though I don't agree with some of the things, so I don't want to make comment on it. And when I get prepared, I will make comments, especially when it comes to the establishment of this church, where some people believe it was established as a begging institution. That is not true unless you go back to the history when you talk about David A.D. and this whole Mount Coffee and other thing. If you read Westone, the history of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, you will get to understand that this church empowered it. But let's leave it at that. How we slip from that, that's another discussion we can have at another time. But let me mention.
But Pastor, I just want to piggyback on that a little bit. Don't you think that the mission church?
Get me involved in this. I know you.
Okay, Pastor.
Go ahead, Ravi. Go ahead. Ravi is in flight.
We will have that conversation another day, Pastor. Go on.
Let me get through what I'm saying, Joe.
Yeah.
Let me appreciate it. Therefore, G. Victor Badmo, who led a team to LTI, and it was very great. Over 150 men and women gathered at the Lutheran Institute for massive cleaning up, and the bishop himself had the cutlass cutting.
Yes.
And it was good that we went there and did the work. What that did for us was to understand that there are things that we ourselves can do and not wait for partners to do. We had a lot to do there. Quite recently, was there to put on nursery 5,000 seedlings of what we call orange, but it's called new variety, improved variety of orange. One day we'll get there to tell you that. And that he did some in Tuduta, he did some at LTI. There's another place also. He had nursery growing now in the Bonota area. I think that's a cocoa nursery. The intention of the bishop is that this church should be self-sustaining, so we can't be begging all of the time. Like Goya was on, right?
Yeah, Goya, yeah.
He was, he was saying, and we need to stay together. And since the Lutheran Institute has 350 acres of land, Bishop thinks that we can utilize the agricultural potential of LTI. In doing so, the church is able to depend on this agricultural potential to grow. He has a lot of other things that he's thinking on. He's thinking on now. He is asking the professionals of this church to organize themselves. So whenever we have something to do, we know where to go. We can't go around asking for professionals. And Bishop thinks that there are some work that can be done without spending money. People who love this church should come out and offer their gifts to the church. For me, I think that's the right way to go. The approach he's taking is not money first, but our involvement, using the gifts that God has given us to improve this church. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying other bishops who have passed have not done it, but I'm only saying this because Badmo has taken the initiative in the right direction, and he is a leader that will say, let's go, and he's sitting, but he's ahead. I tell you one from at LTI Okada that morning, and I slept with the principal, so I was going to the guest house to greet the bishop. When I went, they said the bishop is not here, he's gone down the hill. When I went, bishop was already cutting, so what did you expect? I grabbed my collar, I bent down too. But that was it, and it was so. And I want to thank all of the people that came from Upper Lofa, Lower Lofa, the areas, even Monrovia and Banga will receive people from all over, people from St. Matthew, St. Peter, LDS, the school system, the people were there from all over, and they joined us. Pastors were there from Belefana. I mean, it was just overwhelming, and I think he needs to be congratulated for the step he took. And I pray that he will always help us to do the work that God has called us to do. And thank you, my Lutheran Connections. Thank you so much. You used to call us, we said, we're not coming there, but this time we can come.
I know. Is that I will boy there? We're not coming nowhere. Josiah, you on mute. You are on mute, Josiah. You are on mute.
I was saying Pastor P saw him around. That's why I like to have him around,
Exactly.
all the time. Yeah. And so resourceful. Pastor P, thank you for the commendation and thank you for highlighting some of the interesting things that happened at LTR during the cleanup campaign. But one of your sheep, you know, in the pressing of Leo, indicated that the church historically has not actually invested in activating the expertise that the church has. So, and you talk about, you know, different experts in the church, you know, should be able to contribute and don't wait for the church to call on them. I agree, but I think there should be an organized approach, and you agree to that. And if you should have such pool of experts that you can tap into as a church, how do you think you should go about that? Don't you see that as a responsibility of the leadership of the church? The bishop is now open. Everybody sees that he's approaching his leadership from a broad-based perspective, which is a sign of inclusion. But don't you think that's a step, an important step that he needs to take the responsibility of establishing a pool of professionals that his leadership can tap into? Don't you think that should be a responsibility on the part of his leadership?
Your question is belated. He has already taken that approach.
Okay.
He has people responsible to organize the professionals.
Great.
And the day he appears here, the day he comes here to speak to my Lutheran connections, he will be able to address that. And people are working on that. For Bishop Badmo, there is no old brain. Once the person is living and you're a Lutheran and you've been here, you've been around, like professionals, he would need you, because some of them will be able to even guide the younger people. But he's also encouraging all of the youth together at their own organization. They can be identified. They are working on it, seriously working on it.
Great. Thank you, Pastor Pei. Thank you so much. It's good that you highlighted that he has started that as a formal approach of establishing a pool of professionals. I know he encouraged legal-minded people to go and establish themselves into an association. The healthcare people to establish themselves into an association. But I think they should go beyond that. That's the point we're saying, that it should be church initiative instead of them doing it on their own. That's the angle I was coming from. But we all agree that yes, there is a need to establish a pool of professionals, which is the first step that needs to be taken. Pastor Pei, thank you, and we want to have you back here. Just let us know when you can come to sit with us again.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will always be willing. You know, thank you so much, and thank all of you, and to the ambassador.
The ambassador in the background
is talking about you continuously, ambassador, and you are saying
ambassador Reverend Pei is talking about you.
You're not saying anything, ambassador.
Ambassador, you have to come clean. You are muted, ambassador.
Oh, I didn't get him clear. What did he say?
Your pastor keep recognizing you,
referencing you, and all the statement that he made.
No, it's okay, Tablo. Next time we talk.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Do we have another call? I see that we had a call, right?
No, we don't have a call right now.
Okay. All right. But I see that this thing is getting interesting. Stuck in the past, stay stuck in the past as a church, and then coming to terms with current reality. I see our brother Josh Toto also made some comments about that. Willie, do you want to display that? Let's see, brother Toto. And brother Toto, if you are listening, please get on the phone. We want to hear your perspective. How is the bishop doing? It is very early, but like the ambassador said, his feet is already wet. The bishop feet is already wet. So how is he doing? Get on the phone. Tell us so far. You've heard from the bishop twice. So how do you think he's proceeding? Okay, he said all the mainland churches in Liberia were built on donor support, but most of them have gradually moved away from it. Only the LCL stays stuck in the past. So he's making a direct relation to the point I was making, that, hey, we are no longer a mission church. We are now the national church, and we have to take on the responsibility of our church and not depending on others to do it for us. I think that's exactly the point Brother Toto is making here. So, folks, you are tuned into my Lutheran Connections. We'll go to Willie right now to do some recognitions. I know he's been displaying the comments. You can also write your questions. You know, if you don't want to get on the phone, and we can read your questions and we can discuss it.
Yeah. So before we can recognize our viewers, I think Brother Toto adhered to your call, to your request, and he is on the phone right now. So I'm going to bring Brother Toto to recognize our
wonderful,
viewers.
Wonderful.
Go ahead, Brother Toto. Yeah, we are listening.
Yeah, okay, thanks so much again to the program of the Lutheran Convention. What's expected in the topic discussion today? You know, it's a very good discussion. To me, since the induction of the bishop, the appearance on the show, I see some good stuff coming for him. It kind of not promising, you know, for the growth of the church. And also Liberia, anyway, this is what I want to see. In terms of the spirit of the leadership that is coming with, you know, we can see one light at the tunnel. But however, we cannot be set up with what we see rather we need to go more. The reason why I put in our comments concerning the mainland churches, we all know the mainland churches in Liberia, the Lutheran, the Episcopalian, the Baptist, the Methodist, and the Catholic. And look at the churches in the especially in the 70s and the 80s when they started, and look at where they are today in terms of other social development. And more right before our sister church, the Methodist church across the world. See how fast that church has moved in terms of other social economic development. And look at the Lutheran church, where the Lutheran church sits today. You know, they have made tremendous effort in improving that rural infrastructure, and they are moving on. So I think our church need to kind of look out for other avenue to move and be more competitive with other major churches in Liberia. We have the existing infrastructure already. Pastor Pierre mentioned some of the things. We have LTR, we have Totota, we have KPA, all the good rural infrastructure we have in Liberia, and then we're going to try to tap into there and see how there's no resources that we have can be more vibrant with the operation of the church and bring new innovation, especially the IT aspect of it that you can have started when it comes to the communication arm of the church, to put a message of the church out there. And, you know, they say this is what happened in Liberia, in the Lutheran church in Liberia, and you will see how the growth of that church will move on to the next direction. And it's a very good start you guys started. You know, the consistent Lutheran connection, network communication, bringing them on board, them, what is their view? I wish we had that before in the past. I think we will take some, I think one step to where we are today. That's the point I'm going to raise.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Toto. Again, you know, it's always a pleasure having you here with us on the program. We're going to be bringing you back again.
I wanted to ask Brother Toto a question before he leaves.
Okay, go ahead.
Brother Toto, are you there? Yeah. Thank you, my dear brother. I've been having a serious concern, and Willie, you know, Jerry and Abel, who is not here today, will definitely share similar concern. I know they're sharing similar concern. When the bishop sat here the second time, somebody raised a question about a loan, a pending loan that is supposed to be serviced, I think in the amount of 20,000 United States dollars. And I couldn't just wrap my head around it, because for a leadership to be leaving and then leave behind a loan in the amount of 20,000 to be serviced by the incoming leadership, that is mind-blowing to me. And the reason why it's mind-blowing is because we had revenue generation pipelines. Take, for example, we broke down the historic residence of the bishop. You know, and we turned it into an income generating structure. What did we gain from that? How much did we make from that? And that's why I think the verification process is quite important. Since that happened, we displaced the bishop because we wanted to build a multi-purpose center. What did we mobilize from that we couldn't use part of it to service some of the loan? Was in fact right to take a loan of that amount? What actually precipitated that? What caused that? You know, some of these things. What does it bring to your mind, Brother Toto, in terms of where we are right now? Because the bishop said in his word, we are sitting over an empty bucket, quote unquote. That's what he said. That should not be the case in this time. When we had a lot of properties leased, when we had the bishop historic residence, you know, demolished and transformed into something that's supposed to be generating income. So what does that say to you, Brother Toto?
Yeah, Joe, that's a very good point. In fact, let me state for the record, I was one of those that was against the destruction of the bishop residence. And we were convinced that the church can no longer depend on international support, and the church will generate her own revenue. And that's the reason why that particular bishop residence was broken down and turned into a revenue generation aspect. And for us, everything happened for us to hear today that there's a very low-hanging on the church that need to be paid by the incoming leadership is something that need to be seriously looked into. And like the bishop said on the show some time ago, look, in leadership, there's going to be afraid of whatever may come your way of the bubble or possible that you may deal with. You cannot sugarcoat verification whatsoever. You have to go for audit, go for audit. Don't sugarcoat the deal, say one verification, or you want to be more political, or to be political trade, or whatsoever. The church, politics already in the church. You know, we saw how things are going in the church, so we work on the verification process, but don't not sugarcoat it. Let there be an auditing set up to audit the past regime. It will serve as a determinant to fact check other activity, even the upcoming bishop term is over, but the other new coming bishop that can be also too. So let us put a system in place. It is not about witch hunting. It's not witch hunting, but to put a good system in place that will check the balance. You know, it is a penny loan that is hanging right now. The amount on code is $20,000. Another thing will be here to borrow also too. It will be another deal also too. There are other infrastructure. The property that all the Ralphie Highway. Anyway, I don't want to go into that because my fast is now verifying. But I don't want to put anything out in the public domain and not verify. I will keep it to myself. But the report that we get on that property, the Ralphie Highway, and we get the public also to be disheartening now. I just say about that. You know, wow. So but we work on the verification process. But now that you work with the word of it, they got to go for it. You see, like we are today, and the whole national, the whole country, the state can't blame or any justice setting because there was no audit done. And nobody can feel completed to the role that she did because there was no audit done. So she walked away. So the same thing also too, if you plan our bureau institution to Joe, in our church, our institution, in our social institution also too, that should be applied to it also too.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, George. We really hope the results of the verification process will point to some of these things, and then it will give us a leeway in terms of how to proceed. So thank you, Brother Toto. When are we going to have you on the show? I'm not sure. Has Brother Toto appeared on the show? He has not sat with us before, Ambassador.
Yeah. He sat once. He sat once with us.
He did?
Yeah, once. Yeah.
The Aliyah convention becoming operators who will be busy coming weekdays today also.
Right.
I think you guys can have the opportunity also to cover the Aliyah convention
Mhm.
with the leadership of Aliyah to describe the convention and some of the elections.
Willie, are you going to be in Philadelphia for the convention?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Philadelphia, and Aliyah will be here next week.
I'm hoping that we can be there. I can be there, and we can have the show from there, and Jerry can come out from Freetown. Yeah, maybe we can have the show right there. We can have
right there.
Right there. We can have some of the Aliyah leadership members to sit with us on the show right there. Yeah.
But thank you guys for the good show. I just wish this show has started a long time ago. I think we are bigger.
I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Toto.
Thank you, Brother Toto. Thank you so much. This is my Lutheran Connection discussion. Today we have Jerry Tablo, the ambassador. We have Willie on set. Abel has not joined us yet. We are still optimistic, even though we've gone 1 hour, 30 minutes. And my name is Josiah. We're here bringing you on the discussion. As always, we secure the fights beyond emotions. And Willie.
Yeah. So quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and recognize our members, our viewers. I mean, I'm not really wrong with saying members because we are all in this boat together. We are all
absolutely
seeking towards the greater good of our church. So all of our viewers, I want to start with my younger brother, my junior brother, Emmanuel Sumo Koboy. He's following us from Kokoya in Bond County. And our brother there, Jackson Akawaya. Jackson Akawaya from Nigeria. And
you display it? I don't see it. It's not coming on my screen.
Jackson Akawaya from Nigeria. We want to recognize. We want to also recognize our brother Alfred Melipake Tilly from India. He's following us from India. And our uncle Menipele K. Sumo. He's a regular viewer from St. Louis, Missouri. Our brother Newell Kennedy, our brother Leo Lipele Nimpolu Johnson. He also contributed on by way of phone and also comments. Our sister Kopo Sile and also want to recognize our president. You know, once a president is always a president. Our president Jerome, the Royal Jerome Jala.
We have not heard from Jerome in a long time.
Yeah, that's the German ambassador. German ambassador of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So he's pretty busy. We also want to recognize our Mother Dede Howard. We want to and interestingly, I think Mother Howard also brought in Father Howard as well. Father Peter Howard is following us as well. Father Peter Wallaby Howard is following us. We also want to recognize our dear friend and brother Cesar Goya. He also participated on the phone. Brother Samuel Salabasa. Salabasa, I was in your state this weekend. So I hope you are doing well, our dear brother Salabasa. And also our brother George Toto and our brother Leroy Silonquele Molba. Leroy Silonquele Molba. Moses Cole, if you are following, and we believe that you are following our very good partner from Liberia, and also want to recognize our brother there in Lusaka, Zambia. Moses Cole, you went to LTI, you took all of the beautiful photos, you did an entire documentary of the
Willie, we have the bishop. We have the bishop watching. And I hope Bishop
our bishop as well. We want to recognize our bishop.
Can you please call in, Bishop?
Yes.
You are welcome to the broadcast as always, Bishop.
Right. And Moses Cole, those photos, you need to bring those photos, or else we are going to find you.
We want to display some of the photos, especially the one with the bishop.
Yes,
you know,
the one with the bishop holding the cutlass. So let's continue with the conversation. We're gonna try to get the photos quick. Let's continue with the conversation. We're gonna try to work on something and get the But you know, quickly, while I try to find a photo of our bishop holding the cutlass and leading the group, I want to say this something quickly. You know, not only the fact that we demolished the historic building of the bishop, we have saved us some money. But at this time, we are losing income because the current building that the bishop is occupying. That was income was generated, through that building and the non-street building as well. But sadly we're losing income from there.
Willie, in terms of dollar and cents, I want somebody who is versed with the matter to sit with us for us to talk about it. Let's find somebody who can come to share with us.
So one thing quickly, and speaking on the fact that Bishop had not moved in yet. Yeah. No, I think he's talking about the photos. He said the photos have not been submitted.
Bishop doesn't have the photos. We're talking about the photos.
But Bishop, people took your picture. We saw it. We saw you with the cut lights. We're going to project it on the screen. But Moses Cole is going to be fine because he has not, shared classified information with us yet. So
we will have Moses Cole to share the photos.
Joe, I wanted to say. Joe, I wanted to say something about this whole issue that we talk about, the issue of us losing assets. When the old resident was demolished and the one we're gaining money from, has now turned to be the bishop residence. But I want to lay it from this perspective. When we're all at the university, and some of us who still studying, and I showed Joe at the elementary time and then going to tertiary education, we always hear that they got assets and they got liability, especially for those that study the accountancy or finance. Absolutely. And the definition for that would be that the asset is the thing that we own and the liability is the thing that we owe. But I just want to say that from the development perspective, we see it from a different lens. We see assets simply as anything that puts money in your pocket, and liability, anything that takes money away from your pocket. So at a certain point in time, technically speaking, your own house that you live in can be a liability. Your own car, which is a luxurious good, can be a liability, technically speaking, from the development perspective. And why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I think Woody was right. You understand? Because if we intend to generate resources, and we talk about real estate, and then we say, okay, look, we want to demolish the previous resident of the bishop so that we can erect a structure that will put money into our pocket. That was intended for it to be an asset. But then what we attempted to do was not to calculate very strategically, because the resident that also the bishop have moved into, or I don't know if the bishop has already moved into that resident, the resident that the bishop already moved into or will be moving into was generating income, which was indeed putting money in our pocket to be an asset. So what we would have done was to refurbish the former building for the bishop to remain there. That will be a kind of liability technically, because we have to pin it, we have to renovate and all that kind of stuff. And then we leave that building on 11th Street or so on rental basis so that we can get some money for it. And then we also try to see how we can look at the structure, elevate it a bit. I think that is what they try to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, so that we can have other rooms that we could rent to get money. That is how real estate developers think, and that is what they do. Sometimes some of them go around, they look at these structures, they refurbish, they put it in perspective, in shape, and then they resell. And they get a lot of money from it. You understand? But we have not reached that level yet. But at least what we should be thinking on now, we should be thinking on trying to see how we can be able to define asset as anything that put money in our pocket, and we try to see we can go into that investment that will put money into our pocket. We got to redefine some of these concepts so that we can be able to understand it clearly.
Right, Jerry. And Brother Leo Nicole Johnson put it right by saying that we have learned all along how to use money and not how to make money as a church. And some of the decisions that are made, they are not made based on expert advice. And I'm not sure anybody advised into the significance of, investing and having the appropriate returns on that investment. Otherwise, the way they approach it, wouldn't have happened at all. I think it was just a matter of few persons sitting along with the bishop and making a decision, but let's break the building down. And what were also the personal interests involved? Because our understanding is that as much as the bishop residence was demolished, another structure was put up for former bishop. So that's another factor. How does that play into this whole arrangement of the building, the new building that the bishop is moving into, versus the building that was put up for the former bishop? Whether that's going to be a personal building, and whether or not resources of the church were used to put that building up, under what circumstance that was done, and then the demolition of the historic residence of the bishop. We need people to sit with us to talk about that, because there has to be accountability here. That's what we're talking about. People need to come to explain to Lutherans why those developments took place. Why did they destroy an asset to create more liabilities? Because that's the situation we're having. Yeah. And
Joe, I don't want.
That's not reasonable.
I don't want to cut you off. I will give you the time, but I just want to say exactly some of the stock taking that will happen, recommendations thereof. We need to either bring the committee or perhaps bring the bishop, so that we can be able to have, or even the former leadership, to come and try to see how we can be able to put this thing in perspective. But let me just say quickly, Joe,
do we have
sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to remind you that Bishop is coming on the last Sunday. Remember, he has the last Sunday, so he's coming. And I also have some of the photos to share when Ambassador is done.
Okay. Oh, Joe, we do not have, we are not yet attempting to castigate or to say anything negative about the previous leadership. No. We are just free thinkers. We are just trying to think outside the box that everyone else who calls and all of the viewers are looking, because we're all working to try to see how we can be able to put, the church on the right trajectory. And like Leo said, we need the professionals around the table to discuss this issue. We need to mobilize them. We need to
inform the decisions. And inform the decisions.
Inform decisions. Yes. That is it. Yeah, Joe.
So I'm gonna share the screen very quickly, and also we will be bringing in Brother Moses Cole will be joining us very shortly.
Moses, please let us display the bishop pictures in peace. Don't call us in the next 2 minutes. Call us.
That's what he's trying to do. So I think you are seeing the screen right here. So this is LTI. That's the process when the process was ongoing. That's Moses. That's Moses Cole. Instead of working, Moses Cole was eating.
Oh.
And I also have Brother Stephen Cover on the phone. So right after showing the video, the photos,
let's take Stephen Cover. Let's take Stephen Cover before we lose him. Let's take
okay, all right. Brother Cover is on the phone. He is a product of the LTI, so he's gonna give his experience and make his contribution to today's program.
Welcome, Stevo. It's all yours.
He went off. Hold on 1 second.
Oh my goodness. Okay, then we can wait for him to call back.
Yeah. So this is the entire process when they were cleaning up at LTI, and also this is our sister.
Yeah.
From the HIV program.
Is that Game?
That's Game. Yes, it's Game. I think. Yeah, Brother Kova is on the phone. We're gonna go back quickly and take Brother Kova. We'll stop sharing and we will take him.
And Willie, please stop right there. Please display the bishop comment. This is very important. The bishop said the bishop has not moved. The building needs total renovation. The cost we don't have. Complications here.
So you guys see
liability. That's it there.
you see what I was talking about? Liability.
We created more liabilities by demolishing the bishop's residence. So what we needed to do, like Jerry said, give a facelift to the bishop's residence, which is a one-off investment. and we have a long-term returns because the bishop will be there for a long time from a one-off investment. And then the building that the bishop is supposed to move in, renovate that building, elevate it, upgrade it, so that we have more returns on it,
Right.
so that we generate more resources from that. But we didn't do that. We demolished the bishop residence. We put up a new building for the former bishop. And then here is the other building that we're supposed to generate resources from that is in a dilapidated state that the bishop cannot move in. This is complicated. Accountability is needed here.
And Joe, I can remember, but that is something that I cannot independently verify. But I know for the word that in the grapevine, people were saying that there were back and forth discussion on this identical decision to demolish the building, erect something else, and also the issue of trying to see how they could not refurbish the previous building, the previous bishop residence, but then to move on to try to see how they can be able to. And then the SG Emeritus was on this very platform and said that the bishop went at the residence he should be moving in, and he saw it and said that it was okay. Winnie, you were with me when we were on the show.
I was here. We were here with her.
I'm surprised that the bishop is saying he has not moved yet, even though they said that they had a tenancy agreement, and the tenants that were in it, they told the tenants they were about to move because the bishop was going there. Some transitional team went and inspected the building, and at the final analysis, the team told the bishop was okay. The bishop agreed that he was going to move in the building, I think on 11th or 12th Street. So for the bishop to be saying that he has not moved that yet, and the building is in total dilapidation and needs renovation, and they don't even have the money, it is blowing my mind on top of the roof.
So folks, our audience, you can understand the sentiments with which we discuss this because we are Lutherans and we are concerned about it. But here is the thing. We can assure you that we are going to bring the proper authorities to sit with us and discuss the nitty-gritty of this matter because it is crucial going forward. It is about the residence of our bishop. It is about the current bishop not having a place to stay. I think currently he is staying in his own place, which should not be based on the policy of our church. The bishop is supposed to be in the bishop residence. That's our bishop right there.
That's the bishop leading the charge.
And I can imagine.
Bishop is leading the charge. So this is to affirm what the Reverend Thomas E. P. was saying, that when he went to greet the bishop was already birching, pretty much, so to speak. He was already birching. So activities at the LTI, our sister.
Will you please go back to some of those photos? I just want to say.
I will go back.
This one. Okay, that one, no problem. I can imagine, and I share the same sentiments that Brother Toto shared. I can imagine that for those number of years that LTR went down to this level, that even the current bishop, a first step that he's taking is to give LTR a facelift. So LTR was buried by the bushes, buried into the bushes. I can imagine how that happened over the years. But anyways, that was then, and I think it's a new era going forward. A lot has to happen, and I think it promises to be good, given the initial steps. But I just wanted Willie and Jerry to assure our audience that we're going to do our best to bring the proper authorities here to sit with us and talk about some of these critical issues. They can rest assured, because we've always done that, and we are committed to do that. Yes, you can go on to display the pictures. This looks very good. And
that's our partner Moses Cole. Photo credits. We want to say all photo credits to Brother Moses Cole. Moses Cole have been doing an amazing work for our church. Again, when we talk about bringing the professionals, Moses Cole is from the media, professional media background. So Moses Cole goes there. He does what he knows best how to do. Moses Cole was there, and he was able to capture, every activity. Over 200 photos. Moses Cole has them, and we want to say thank you very much. Great job, work done. And to all of the people, even though he's wearing his press, the guy is using press uniform just to get food to eat. He crossed
Hey,
the
Willie, I won't have you saying that about please. Willie, I think it's okay, the pictures.
and all of the great women, the men of our church, we really want to appreciate them. All of the mothers, we want to appreciate them. I believe the bishop himself. I mean,
Is that a selfie? Was the bishop doing a selfie? Was the
Yeah.
bishop doing a selfie? Is that a selfie?
He has to tell us. Maybe when he comes back, when he comes during his hour, he will tell us what he was doing.
The moment that I enjoy Joe and Willie, I don't know if Moses can be able to send that short clip, and that could be one of the clips. That could be one of the clips. Willie, I would advise as our technical man to put in the background, and sometimes as we're running our show, we can be able to show that clip of the bishop inspiring the guys.
Yeah, so Moses just
intermittently. We can do it intermittently.
Moses has it. Moses has it. So maybe you can ask it. There's a short clip where they stood up and the bishop was reading the Bible verse or some pages of the scripture, and you know, and then we can. That's a clip. I mean, out of 10 or 2 or 3 minutes, and we can intermittently, so people see the leader they have now.
Yeah.
Hey, Moses Cole.
We have Moses on the phone.
Hey, Moses, welcome. And thank you for those great pictures. You know, we recognize you. Those pictures are from you. Thank you for sharing them with us. We really starting to enjoy the partnership with you, Moses. What can you tell us about what happened at LTR? Just a synopsis of some of the major things that happened at LTR.
Yeah, thank you so much, and good evening to everyone that listening to me right now. You know, the trip at LTR was a clear symbol of the new leadership, and you know, the 7-who leadership. That's what I would want to term it, because it wasn't about the portfolio. Yeah, I can clearly say that for sure. It wasn't about the portfolio, the position. I mean, everybody got to work, including the Lord Bishop. He was all into it, even the BA, right? And everybody was like into it. So, Brother Willie, right now on WhatsApp, I'm uploading a video to you.
Okay.
But please don't, please don't share that video right now on the platform until I get the Lord Bishop to see it first, because it's a surprise.
Okay. So
I actually did a documentary of some of the work, and you know, because it was actually challenging when we got there. There was no network.
Right.
Yeah. To even make a phone call to go live. I mean, it was really hard for us. But then we had to do short videos and other things, and commute between Salaye and Zozo. Yeah, so we're like between Salaye and Zozo and uploading. And because we went there purposely to carry it live, we could not come back with the team. So we stayed there. So on Monday, I went back there and I had to do a short live coverage from there. But I mean, it was actually one of 7-who leadership display while we're in Salaye.
And again, Brother Cole, we want to say thank you very, very much. And our bishop is following us, and Bishop, we want to say. No. We didn't share the picture.
No, but Bishop is following it, and tell Moses that Bishop has said, Bishop has agreed that we can go ahead and share it.
Okay. Sorry, that's a spoiler alert. I don't think the bishop is hearing what we are saying right now. He's having meditation. So yeah, you can still send a video to him.
Yeah. But the bishop just said, I agree, go ahead and share, Cole. So Cole, they say you should share with us, okay?
Bishop, Mr. Cole, you have gotten Bishop's Episcopal blessings to share this video. Do you still want us to wait?
The ecclesiastical approval.
Yeah, sir.
If you check your WhatsApp right now, you'll find the video. It's very huge because I did the editing right on the phone.
Okay.
Because I don't have a machine to like compress it, so it's like huge. I think it's like a little over 1.21 gig, something like that.
Okay.
It's really huge.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just uploaded it to you, and I'm going to take it to the Lord Bishop office tomorrow.
Okay, so what we're gonna do quickly is we're gonna try to share it, and this video will be taking us home. So I'm going to try to have this video shared so that we all can just watch it quickly. Brother
Stephen Cover is following.
Brother
Is he
Stephen
on
Cover
the phone
is
now?
also it's also following.
That's the last call we should take after Moses leaves.
Okay, no problem.
Stephen, we want to hear from you before we go.
Yeah, so I'm doing everything possible to get the video on. Then we'll try to get.
You want to get a video on the screen now, Willie? Now?
No, I want to. I have to send it quickly. Then we will.
We need, Jerry, what do you think? We need to find time to screen the video, right? Probably we can just screen it without a show as a special edition. We just screen it, and it's huge. It's about how many minutes?
It's about 2 minutes. It's about 2
minutes.
If
it's 2 minutes, fine.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. If it's 2 minutes, then you can. If it's 2 minutes,
go ahead.
You can go with it. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Really. So, Brother Cole, want to say thank you very much. We're gonna.
I'm saying the video is really long. It's about 25 minutes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Then
we can share that now.
Documentary.
Okay. All right. Then no problem. We will just get Brother Cover.
Probably just show maybe the beginning of it.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably just show the beginning of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem. Yeah, we will get Brother Cover. Then we will wrap up today. But again, Brother Cole, we want to say thank you very, very much. Let me try to see how we can get Brother Cover here quickly.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, boss. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to work on something here quickly.
Yes.
Just mute yourself.
Yeah. I will do that, and I will quickly. I will just bring this in right here quickly while we're trying to get Brother Cover. All right. I have the video here with me. I think everyone is seeing the screen right now. And this is work done by our brother, our partner, Moses Cole. So I'm just going to, okay, 1 second. Okay. The arrival of the bishop. Man, Moses Cole, thank you so much, man. Beautiful documentary.
That's the vehicle that just brought in the bishop?
No. Moses, thank you. We're going to stop this right here. We will share this later. This is so beautiful.
This is good. So what we will do next week, we will start the show early. We will start the show early. Cover on?
We're trying to get him quickly.
Okay, so I was trying to say, Ambassador, next week we can start the show early, and then we can screen the video. And then after the video, then we can go ahead with our discussion.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm sure that works.
All
right, Ambassador.
I think Ambassador wanted to see you wanted to see the motivational movement that was right after the vehicle arrived, but we're gonna leave that until tomorrow. So, Brother Cover is on the phone. He's gonna give his experience from LTI and also make his contribution quickly before we close.
Hey, Stevo, you are most welcome. Stevo would like to hear from you, and you see, you are the most important person here right now because you're going to be the last. You have the last word, sir.
Stevo? I think he's having some network.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, network still bad. I'm home and I'm indoors. That is kind of late. But good evening from my end. I don't know whether it's good afternoon at your end, but it's good hearing you guys. And I feel fulfilled when people start to talk about LTI. LTI used to be our home. We live on LTI and made that place the best place for us. Am I being heard?
Yeah, you are. Everyone is listening.
Good. I in my time, my life or time on LTR. I went on LTR in 1985, and I stayed there up to 1988. That was from 9th grade to the 12th grade. And LTR used to be a place where families, students from all walks of life, all counties, we have people from Grand Gide, people from Maryland, students who come to LTR because of the discipline that LTR was giving to students. And that school made people who they are up to now. And that what I enjoy with LTR is that we have sports, we have entertainment, but we have what we call our special study class. That pays a lot because we're forced to play soccer and play sports, but we're also forced to study. And with that, you have an obligation to pass. And we had that. We have our study home, our study classes. But I'm going to study for sure. We live like a family and enjoy being on the LTI. But what baffles me is how LTI is now.
Yeah.
And come to take it. The campus is so bad. It's so bad. It's being really mismanaged. It's being underutilized. I mean, underutilized is an understatement. It's being mismanaged. It's being destroyed. Because to allow push or force to grow in LTI, we never had that happening. And we've been having administrator at LTI for years after the war, for the past 5 years. We've been having people managing the campus. But to see LTI as it is, it's disappointing. It beats my imagination. I feel so disappointed. But thank God for the bishop that he's being far-sighted to ensure that LTI comes back. Look, can you imagine the bishop did not even attend LTI? But you understand what LTI has done. The Lutheran Training Institute was a beacon of hope for Liberians, for Lutherans and other people. And so, if I start to go on and on and on to explain how LTI really made us what we are today, I'm going to take almost all the time of your show. But thank you for the opportunity, and I must admit, the Wolf Kingdom was a place to be.
It was, Devo. I know Jerry has a question for you. We wanted to go at 2 o'clock, but we'll go over a little bit. We will go over a little bit because of
the most exciting thing about that on Sunday because in our white discipline, white suits. The ladies will wear their white dresses. It was compulsory. Whether you're Muslim, you're Buddhist, or whatever. On Sunday, because LTI was a Lutheran school, it was a Christian school. So that Sunday worship service was mandatory for everyone. And you must wear your white suit.
Yeah.
Stevo.
Yo.
Look, I just wanted to ask you some questions, man. Did you ever screen your table in the dining hall?
Let me tell you, sometimes we had a silver plate. You know the silver plate, that aluminum plate.
Yeah.
When you enter the hall and you think you're a big person, you're a big boy, a big girl, man. As soon as you enter the wall, you just see that bowl rolling to you. And as soon as you just roll and stop, you have all war.
Devo, we need to have reflection, man. We have time for reflection on the show here to talk about some of those good days, wearing our white suit, going to church, and then screening the tables and apologizing in the dining hall for screening our tables, keeping our friends hungry for the rest of the time. We will talk about that, going to Domfo and everything. We have a serious reflection. We have a time to talk about some of the stuff.
Yeah,
so my colleague Jerry has a question for you.
I lost my sneakers. I lost a pair of sneakers. I lost my bucket.
Did you find that at Domfo, even though you never had control over them again, they were being sold?
If your bedsheet gets messy, your bucket gets messy around November, don't look for it. Just go to
You know, I mean, I did not go to LTI, but you know, all of the like what people talk about, you know, the experiences they had at LTI. You know, I mean, I went to LTI once for the youth summer the youth winter camp, I would say. You know, and we had a wonderful time there. We had this guy right now in New York, brother Aloysius Boa. Brother Aloysius Boa, his brother Peter Boa, they used to be our police officers. When they come in the morning and blow the whistle, you got to get up and we start running up and down doing exercise. If not, they're going to, you know, whisk cold water. You know, I mean, just that little experience from LTI. So, you know, but we're gonna try to find time, please, Brother Kova.
We'll bring you along. We'll bring you along with team members.
We're gonna bring some of the old LTI members on the show,
Yes.
so we can talk about, you know, just to reflect,
Yeah.
reflect on LTI activity at LTI. Maybe we can even use that. Perhaps, you know, maybe do a fundraising program for LTI or so or something. But the team will discuss that and we'll look at it, and we'll be looking to you and some of the members from, you know, from LTI in Liberia and those in the diaspora. Will be bringing everyone together to have this wonderful show.
Right. So Jerry has a question for you, Steve.
In the US, so here we heard about Dr. Tano Duoku. So those the guy from the 70s, well, the 70s, the early 80s, the late 80s, and the early 90s. We got people here, and we are willing to share our experiences when it comes to LTR.
Yeah. Ambassador Tabler has a question for you, please.
Steve, thank you. I mean, I'm very happy and I marvel you guys that went to LTI. I'm like, waiting. I didn't go there. But the way you guys talking about LTI, I wish LTI could come back like LTI so some of us can go back with it. But I just wanted to find out from you, Steve. I understood that Bishop said that the teachers there have been in arrears now for more than 1-2 years. And what are you guys thinking? I mean, in terms of, we know we're giving the place a facelift, but what are you guys thinking in terms of trying to see you can rid of that kind of liability? We just gave one idea that we will bring you people, the LTI team that Bishop put together. I mean, on the platform, we'll find time so we can discuss all LTI and try to see if we can even raise, mobilize, do some fundraising. You know, we can put our GoFundMe or Zelle number here so people can throw in whatsoever they can throw in. That will be a way of our platform, you know, supporting the process there, helping the bishop so that at least we can be able to get some money. But I just wanted for you to give me some idea if you got any information of, why are we in arrears? What happened?
Jerry, Ambassador Tablo, the same question you're asking was the same question I asked the bishop just today. You know, today was Walter Gordon Garley Jr. 50th birthday, and we are in his place, and we're sitting and discussing. Little did I know that LTI has arrears with teacher for more than 12 months. That was it. The place has been mismanaged. Has bad administration. Bad administration. And if you ask the school say the LTI itself, they say, oh, the bishop office, go to the bishop office, say go to the school system. The school system does not have any control over the LTI schools. Over LTI. So the bishop is, he's troubled by this. I can tell you for sure, he's so troubled by this because you have people teaching in that place and can get paid for over a year. That's hilarious. That's so weird. You don't do that to people. So what we are discussing is that how do we mitigate this? Because let's call a spade a spade. We need to do something about it. That's the only way, because we can't be research mobilizing for LTI when we have a huge area. Like, that's pure liability. The bishop has studied us, and we are still meeting when we meet sometime this week and next week to study us on how to mitigate this. The idea is true that there are areas for staff, for teachers. There is huge area. Teachers have been paying for months. He spoke about that. He felt so discouraged and myself felt so bad. But we did have a discussion about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we can be able to help. Let's help we live LTR.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we're gonna try as a team, we're gonna try to reach out to
But when he ask him if he can be able to get in touch with Dr. Dwago and the team and let us know when they'll be able to avail themselves so that we can give them that opportunity and then we can listen to them and we'll put it on our schedule and then we can be able so they can give us a tentative date that we can be working on.
Sure, absolutely. He's listening and we will follow up with him as well.
No, we'll bring them on. Yeah,
we'll bring them on. Yeah,
we'll bring them on. You can be sure about that. We'll bring them on. I'll get in touch with Stevo. This is LTR matter. I think I should take the lead on this.
When it comes to LTR, beat your hands on it. So
yeah. You know, Stevo was leaving when I was stepping in. Stevo left in 1988, and I actually went in 88. I stayed there 90 up to the war. So LTR is so dear to me too. It was a complete home. In fact, many times I didn't want to go back home for vacation. I remember there were 2 different times I signed up to stay on campus for my parents not to come for me and just to stay on campus and have fun because we had our opportunity too if you wanted to go for vacation or not to stay on campus, you know. So the how dear LTR is to us. And when I was seeing the pictures, it almost brought tears to my eyes that the place has gone so down. It's at its lowest point at this time. And serious conversation needs to happen for the upliftment of LTR. Stevo, it was really good having you briefly, but I'm going to get in touch with you so we can arrange for you and the team to get on board the Alumni Association to come on the platform so we can talk all things LTR.
Sure, we avail ourselves.
Right. Okay.
All right, Sam, but I appreciate you so much. Have a great night, and we'll be talking to you shortly.
Thank you. You have a pleasant evening too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Ambassador, especially for those who didn't go to LTI, I think
we'll get Joe the chance to lead on that.
Joe will just lead on that when it comes to LTI. For me,
you raise a very, very good point. And Joe, you need to work behind the scene so that we can give sufficient publicity to it because if we got Zelly number or go for whatsoever, let's try to see who can be able to raise.
As a team, we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. Yeah. BJ is here. I know he's in touch with the group that is here. So, I mean, we're just going to work with BJ to coordinate something. Maybe, you know, we'll look at our schedule. You know, we have our schedule. So we'll look at our schedule and see what we can do pretty quickly for
we shouldn't forget we promised Aliyah, we told them that we're giving them one Sunday before or on their convention. So
Aliyah is coming this Sunday. Sunday on the 14th because the 21st we're going to be in Philadelphia on the 21st. So Aliyah is coming on the 14th next Sunday. We're going to have the team. Aliyah will be here and we're going to be in Philadelphia. We're going to be in Philadelphia on the 21st. It's from the 19th to the 21st.
From the 19th to the 21st.
Yes. Then the following Sunday, which is the 28th, the bishop is going to be here. Our Lord Bishop is going to be here. I know he's going to be giving us more update and things that are unfolding. So we have a pretty tight schedule, and but we're going to work around things and see. Maybe first Sunday in September will be for LTR also, but we're going to work around things and see how we can get things done.
Here is what I want to say also, guys, colleagues. We want to encourage the bishop to do 2 minutes recording, an inspirational recording. It could be a call, you know, to Lutherans, and we can intermittently play that recording while the show goes on. This is a Lutheran platform. We encourage that just to support development, support reconciliation and unity in our church. We want to have something like that from the leader of the church that we can play during the course of our conversation each Sunday when we are here. And also the coming Sunday prior to the conversation with the Aliyah team, we will screen the video. We will play the video.
We're going to play the video.
The first minute of it.
So pretty much we're going to be starting a little early. Just an announcement to all of our viewers. We're going to be starting a little early because we want to show that video. Maybe we're going to be starting at 3:30 in Liberia. 7:30 Liberia time, and which will be 3:30 p.m. our time. So we're going to be starting early, so we show the video, so we all can watch the video. Just from the few seconds I saw that video, I mean, I'm just moved. And again, Thank God for our partner, Brother Moses B. Cole. Thank you so much. I mean, that documentary, just a few seconds I saw the documentary, I mean, it's so touching. So, I mean, it's very classic, professional, and everything. I want to say thank you so much, Brother Cole. So, with regards to the suggestion you just made, Big Joe, again, we're going to leave it in the hands of our professional man on the ground, Brother Moses Cole. I know he's going to work along with our bishop, and he's going to do that, and he's going to just let us know. Yeah.
So, Ambassador, I think it's something we can do. We can have Moses Cole to go and do that recording and edit it professionally, so that intermittently, as we have our discussions, we can roll it so that Lutherans are encouraged by that. They are inspired by that, message from the bishop. We can do it. We can change the message as time goes by, and we can play intermittently on the show.
Yes, Joe, you are very right, and every show, and then we can even play it more when it is the bishop's hour. But I mean, maybe every month, Moses could go to the bishop, and then they can select a topic. Maybe this time around be reconciliation. Maybe next time it will be development. Like that, and the bishop can just give a very short message on it, and so we change the message at every time, but on a particular theme, and Moses can help us to do the professional aspect of it. And so we can get it on the show.
Yeah,
Moses Cole is still on. Moses Cole is still on.
Yeah, he's watching. Yeah.
If we can get that recording, of the bishop this time, it should be on reconciliation and unity, right, Ambassador Willie?
Yeah.
We just wanted like a minute, 60 seconds, or
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Yeah. From the bishop, we just screen it intermittently. Moses Cole, please work with the bishop to get our recording and then have it over to us.
And on the recording, Joe, then he just edit it and put the message. Yeah.
I believe he will do. I believe he will do that. Oh, he said he's going to see the bishop tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, and then the message, and if this time will be reconciliation, message from the bishop, column reconciliation. Yeah, message from the bishop, column, something else. Yeah.
Right. Okay, folks. It's been more than 2 hours. We've gone 2 hours, 16 minutes. Always when we are here, the discussion becomes so interesting, so fascinating, and we never get tired here. We're doing this for our church. This is part of our contribution to our church. We love our church so much. Like one of the sheep, just like us said before, the church has given us so much that we have not paid back yet. We are still indebted to our church, the Lutheran Church, in so many ways. Many of us got educated by the church. And many of us, our parents work for institutions in the church, were able to earn resources to finance our education. So we are greatly indebted to the LCL. So every day we are just thinking about ways in which we can give back to our church meaningfully. And we are very happy doing this for our church. It's voluntary. We're not supported by any means, and we are not asking for support. Our meager resources, we continue to do that ourselves. What we need is just our time, sacrifice time, and then all of the expertise that each of us have, we bring them on board, and collectively we can succeed. This is the kind of spirit that we want in the church in different departments. Absolutely. Lutherans come together in clusters in ways that they can support the efforts of the leadership. To be able to deliver the kind of leadership, the kind of services that Lutherans need, so that we can be way, way on top, because our age and some of the contributions that we have made actually deserve that. So today it has been the Ambassador Jerry, it's been Willie, Jerry in Freetown, it's been Willie there in Georgia, and it's me here in Connecticut. Well, Ibe did not join us today. Ibe, wherever you are, we want to say hope you are doing well. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday. But until then, this has been my Lutheran Connection discussion. Bye.